Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. We're back with our old friend, charting man Dan. How you going, Dan?
Very good. Glad to be here.
It's been a while, mate. So I was on the road for all of January. It must have been late December when we spoke last, I think.
Yeah, it's been a lot's going on, and I think a lot's about to keep going on.
So just to begin with, I think last time, mate, we were talking. I'll just bring up the weekly chart for the viewers. That we were pretty extended, and you look at all the indicators and just how parabolic that went. Were you expecting that pullback?
Definitely, and honestly, I was looking for it before that. I was looking for it in the fall, and just prepared for it, and certainly not fighting the trend, but well aware that any kind of move that significant needs significant consolidation. And we're now getting that significant consolidation. So people that are familiar with technical analysis, they look at that and say, like what's causing all of this? What's the reason? And of course, we have our little individual FUD articles, but in a general sense, it's completely normal when I look at that chart and say, okay, we pulled back a very significant amount, but because we ran so hard and didn't establish support on the way up, that's not surprising. And just looking at the weekly chart right now, it's standing out to me that that volume is really bullish. The volume on the way up is huge for the bulls. There is minimal weekly bear volume on this pullback.
Yeah.
So I say, all in all, you give me this chart and you tell me this is a stock, and I say that's a bullish stock, and I'd be looking for an entry and a higher low on the weekly to form in the near-term future.
So I think we're going to do something a little bit different today, mate, and put on our bearish hats and just say what would cause you to say that, hey, this is bad, this is a bubble, it's burst, we're going to be in a longer term bear market. Do you want me to bring up a daily chart?
If you keep the weekly for a second, the one thing that I'm looking at is the very brief consolidation that we did get on the way up was the week of early November. And it was that low of 5,511 if looking at GDAX.
Yeah.
So if that level were to break, that would be significant for me. That would establish a break of the higher low pattern. And you can see after that level was hit, we didn't establish any other higher lows on the weekly time frame until the all-time high was hit. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, a lack of support. So that would be scenario number one if that were to break. Also, if we were to see, if the daily chart bounced from here and saw higher lows and higher highs start to form, and then either, some fresh FUD or something completely sweep the legs out from underneath the bulls and, take away an uptrend, take away the uptrend that starts if we get one, that would be pretty detrimental and pretty disheartening for the bulls.
Yeah, I tend to agree that it's every time we've just looked like maybe we're starting to form high lows on those shorter time frames. It seems like there's a new round of bad news just about every day at the moment, which is frustrating. Ethereum, mate. So last year, very early on, I said to you that I'm very bullish on Ethereum, and I think we're going to hit $500. And you said, don't give price targets. That's one of those bad things to do, and whatever, which is good advice. But I was just so bullish on Ethereum because once you understand about how it works, I just believe it has the strongest fundamentals as a platform, which we have all these other quality projects building on top of. The other thing I'll probably mention is that one of the losing trades that I took a loss on recently was that Ethereum Bitcoin pair. So I'll bring that up for everyone to take a look at. But we were talking the other day that markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And I was telling my viewers with my fundamentals that, hey, I believe Bitcoin's going to, be slow and have higher fees, and I believe Ethereum is going to scale better in the short term, and I think Ethereum's going to outperform Bitcoin. But I was wrong for months, so that's another lesson learned. Never go big on positions because the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. If I had to put on a big margin trade on that. Those theses, I guess, but since then, since Ethereum Bitcoin pair bottomed, it's just been a monster rally, and when you said today it's just getting really overextended and probably taking a breather.
Yeah, it's a very good looking chart, and I definitely agree. I don't usually do fundamentals, but for the cryptocurrency space as a whole, the fact that everything is reliant on Bitcoin because it's the original, like that's not really a good enough reason for me. It's the original, yeah, it started everything, but the fact that the entire cryptocurrency space is going to do what Bitcoin does, that's not a market that I want to see. I want to see a market that's established on functionality. And that's what I've been saying, you know, in some of my videos. Now is time for, you know, functionality and widespread usage to start to come to the forefront. And so we can get out of this speculation phase and into some actual fundamentals that we can see. So I would love if Ethereum was the basis of the cryptocurrency space and we started seeing correlation to Ethereum and altcoins and things like that, rather than, you know, Bitcoin, which for functionality maybe isn't going to be the one in a few years that people are really caring about.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it's changed. Bitcoin has changed what it is in the time, just in the past few months. It's gone to that store of value. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. But yeah, the stats on what the total market cap of cryptocurrency, what percentage of those are actually related to Ethereum, and all the apps that are being built on top of Ethereum is just huge. So definitely excited to see Bitcoin and Ethereum moving independently, and then we hope, as you said, all these projects with independent fundamentals in different industries, let's hope that they start to move independently. It's going to be a better traders market and a better investors market as well. So did you want to comment on that Bitcoin chart at all, mate?
Yeah, it's obviously very bullish. And looking at the daily chart, we're just now forming a big upper wick. That's a bearish reversal shooting star candlestick. It shows profit taking, which isn't surprising. You look at the RSI, and even right now it's at 80. So when it was at the top of that candlestick, it was in the low to mid 80s. The 4-hour RSI, same thing, very overextended. So we're going to see some healthy consolidation. We could pull back on this daily chart, and anything above 8276, the low of the last consolidation, will be a higher low. So very confident that we will set a higher low. And looking at the weekly chart, this long term, we had the all-time high. We pulled back very significantly. We hit our bottom, and then it was just a V-shaped recovery. So that's not a sustainable move to break to a higher high. We're going to look for a lower high to form, which is probably what we're seeing now, and then a higher low to form on the weekly. And then if we can get a higher low and then a higher high, if that happens on the weekly chart, I'm going to be very, very confident that we see the ETH flippening and take over the market cap leader in 2018.
Yeah, and that's going to upset a lot of people, unfortunately. And you know, as a good trader and investor, you can't get married to positions. And I absolutely love Bitcoin, but unfortunately, unless they really roll out this Lightning network and sort out their fees, the competition's coming. And I think it's more death by 1,000 cuts than one thing that is going to bring it down. We've seen Stripe stop Bitcoin payments and all that sort of thing. So I hope Bitcoin gets it sorted out, but for the time being, yeah, it's got to sort its issues.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I mean, to your point, there's nothing that grinds my gears more than watching people argue in forums about coins where, no, this coin's better. I mean, it's great to have fundamental discussion, but you're absolutely right. The people that get married to their favorite coin and won't look at anything else and won't have their opinion swayed, it's going to make them lose money.
Yeah, and a lot of people were in Bitcoin very early and closed-minded. They refused to look at Ethereum or believe that anything else, and they missed a fantastic opportunity. And now there's all these other opportunities. So yeah, open-minded. Take everything with a grain of salt that you read in these forums, but definitely remain open-minded. So any closing comments today, Dan? It's been great to talk to you again, mate.
Well, as far as the bottom for now, I think it's in. There were some volume indicators, and I'm about to make my own little video that points out what I was looking at on the 5-minute time frame to see that volume. But there was really good bull volume on the 5-minute time frame at the bottom, and that made me very confident that our low is in for now. And I just saw right now, actually, Ethereum's hitting a higher high. So the hourly bull flag on Ethereum just got confirmed. And it's one step ahead of Bitcoin, which has not done that yet. So definitely looking good for the bottom in tonight. And now we're going to see, can we get the 4-hour higher low and higher high? Can we get the daily higher low and higher high? That's what the bulls need to do to prove. And even on the daily chart for Bitcoin, if you look at the volume on the daily chart for Bitcoin, that is very significant volume. And you look back, and the last time we saw that much volume was back December 20th when the first major pullback started. So that's significant volume. Let's see if that's our climax and we start to head back to 10,000.
Awesome. Pleasure as always, Dan. Get some sleep, mate, and happy trading.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate. Bye.